Okay, should be all set.
Thank you. We will get started in 6 minutes.
Woo.
Have the recording paused so we don't have 6 minutes of
Yep.
screen.
Yep.
Make sure to start the recording. If you're just joining us, we will get started at 5:30. Thanks for joining this evening. If you're just joining us, we'll give folks just another minute and then we'll get started. Okay. Thank you all for joining us this evening for the proposed rate range rule change hearing for Oregon Parks and Recreation Department. We are going to go over the agenda and get started. We're going to start with introductions of our staff, and then I will do a presentation on the background and the proposed rules that are proposed to be changed. We will then answer some clarifying questions on the process for the rule change, and then open it up for public comment on the proposed rule changes, and then provide information on how you can comment further if you have additional comments. So to get started, Joe, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Good afternoon. My name is Jo Niehaus. I'm a policy advisor with Oregon Parks and Recreation Department.
Chris?
Yeah, good evening. Chris Havel, Oregon Parks and Recreation Department, Director's Office.
Great, thank you. And I'm Katie got there. I'm with the Government Relations and Policy Unit, and I am the rule coordinator for this rulemaking effort. So the little bit about the background of how and why we're introducing these proposed rule changes. In 2017, legislation allowed for the State Parks and Recreation Department to have a flexible fee so that we could have rate ranges and then make changes to the fees within those rate ranges up to 4 times per year that the director would have the authority to make those changes. The first rate ranges were adopted into rule in 2018 and then implemented in the budget in 2019, and have been we've been doing those since that time. The ranges have helped to we have the flexibility to adjust to changing market conditions and changing needs for the park system. We have reached the top of some of those ranges now, and looking into the future due to inflation, utility costs, and operations and maintenance costs, want to make sure that we have the ability to be responsive to those needs, and are proposing changes to the rate ranges going into the future. The rates that you'll see, the ranges that you'll see, propose roughly about a 30% increase to the top end of the ranges, and will be the current rates at the bottom end of the ranges. So the 30% would be on to the current top end of the range. And this is intended to meet the needs of the agency for 3 biennium, so till about 2031. It's to provide the flexibility and needs so that we're not continuing to come to do rulemaking continually every time that there's a need to make a change in rates. So I'm going to go over what those changes would look like. To start with, you'll see that there are 2 asterisks here in the green column. Currently in statute, starting in 2022, there was a change so that individuals who are from out of state or non-Oregon residents that camp in a RV site are required to pay a 25% increased rate. And this was done because Oregon residents who have RVs, part of their licensing registration fee goes to Oregon Parks and Recreation Department to help fund our campgrounds. So as the legislature wanted to make sure that folks who are coming from out of state are also contributing, so there was a 25% increase for RV sites. Part of the proposed rule in blue would be a 25% increase for all types of sites. So you'll see that in this blue column. The top two are currently, but this would add it to every column. So the full hookup site would be our water, sewer, and electric campsites. The current rate in this gray column, the current rate is $33. That is not including the transient lodging tax, which varies based on location. So that's not included in the posted rate. The current range is $26 to $40. The proposed range is in this brown column. It would be 33 to 52. And then for out-of-state visitors, it would be the 25 to 65. We are adding an additional category for mini cabins. This is a new site type. These cabins have microwaves and mini refrigerators, but there's no restroom facilities, which the deluxe cabins have. They are smaller and can have fewer number of people, but they are priced between the rustic and the deluxe sites. And then further campsites, we identify the horse sites, which are priced at the same rate of like campsites, and then some of the group sites. I'll give everyone a chance to look through some of these rates. And this rate table is posted on our website that I will show a link to at the end of this presentation. And again, the hookup sites or the RV sites currently have a 25% surcharge, but we would propose a 25% surcharge for out-of-state residents on all site types. For amenities, extra vehicles that are in the campground, currently the rate is $7. The proposed range would be from $10 to $15. And for motorcycles, it is currently $7 and would go from 10 to 15, but 2 motorcycles can be in for the same fee. For boat morages, this would be for campgrounds, for morages in campgrounds that have a moorage. It would go from $10 to $15 to $40 for that rate range. We do add a new category for marina slip rental. We only have one site where there's not a campground, but there is a marina. This is at Lowell, and the sites vary in length and the duration that people rent them. So those will be detailed on our website and would be contracts individually with the renters that rent those slips. For showers, they would continue to be no charge for campers, but for some campgrounds that have capacity, they will allow non-campers to shower, and those would go from the current $2 per person to between a rate range of $5 to $10. And that they're not allowed in all campgrounds, but depending on the capacity of the campground. So for group facilities, we have group picnic rentals. The current rentals for group picnic shelters, current rate is $50. We're having a proposed range of $50 to $200, but adding a new site type for a picnic shelter that is one that has utilities, so water and electricity, and that would be a proposed range of $75 to $250. We are removing the youth camp because that one is no longer reservable. It is done through a property lease, so it's not in our reservation system. And the pavilion, we have noted that we actually only have one pavilion, and that is at Shampooey, and has unique requirements that it is actually 2 facilities. So it's both an indoor facility and an outdoor facility. So those are now combined into a proposed range where you get both the indoor and outdoor facility. And then the last facility one is a very unique Shore Acres on the South Coast. The changes here are to reflect how packages are actually sold. And there's additional information in the rule, and the park provides additional information to anyone renting one of these sites. But instead of trying to explain it In Rule, we are now listing them by package. So for package 1, it would be a garden site, a garden house, and a pavilion area included. Package 2, it's the garden house and pavilion area. Package 3 is a garden site and a pavilion area. And then package 4 is an observation building lawn area, but no building included. And those prices are reflective. The other change that is proposed would be changes to our day use parking permit fee. Day use parking permit fees are assessed to help the parks manage increased park area usage and to regulate kind of where visitors are going and help manage usage. Currently in Rule, we list 26 parks where parking permits are required. The proposed rules would eliminate the named parks, and instead the state parks director would determine which parks would require a parking permit. Those parks would be assessed annually to determine which parks would require a day use parking permit, and that would be listed on our website 30 days before any changes would be made. And we would detail on our website and at the park entrance which parks require a day use parking permit. And not on here, but beginning tomorrow, we will also be taking public comment on an additional change that would increase the day use parking permit fee. Currently, the day use fee is $5. We're looking at a range that would go from $7 to $15. And the annual pass is currently $30 and for a 12-month and $50 for a 24-month. And those would increase by $10. And public comment will start on that as well, beginning tomorrow. So the process for our public comment period, it began for the majority of these rules on June 24th and will continue through August 30th. You're invited. We have in-person and virtual hearings in July and August, and have opportunities to comment that I'll list here in a moment on our website and via email. And once all of the public comment has been collected, staff will analyze the comments and collect them. We post them each week on our website. So if you're interested in seeing what other people are commenting, that's available on our website weekly. Then staff will develop a recommendation of any proposed changes to the proposed rules, and that will go to the State Parks and Recreation Commission for a determination. The commission can choose to adopt the rules as they're written, make changes and modifications to the proposed rules, or they can choose not to move forward with those rules. And they will consider this at their either September or November commission meeting. And if they do choose to move forward with proposed rules, they would be included in the budget beginning July 1st of 2025. Changes to the day use fees would begin January 1st of 2025. So now is the opportunity, if you have any process questions for our rulemaking process questions, you can raise your hand and we will answer any questions about the process. If you have questions about the reasoning behind the proposed rule changes, we would encourage you to include those in your public comment. But if you have any process questions, please feel free to raise your hand. Okay. Well, now we will move into the public hearing portion of our evening. The hearing is an opportunity to provide public comment. No decision is made at the hearing. Each person will have up to 3 minutes to comment, and we will call comments as you raise your hand. And just so that you're all aware, the information will be posted on our website and is being live streamed. I'm going to read a script as part of a requirement for a public hearing, and then we'll go forward and take your public comment. So feel free to raise your hand, and then Joe will bring you into the meeting to provide your public comment. So this hearing is now in session. and is being recorded to maintain a permanent record. My name is Katie Gauthier. I'm the hearings officer. Today is Tuesday, July 31st, and the time is 5:46 p.m. The purpose of the hearing is to provide an opportunity for public comment on proposed rule changes to OAR 736-015-0020, 0026, 0030, 0040, and 0043 by the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department regarding rate changes for campsites, day use, and facilities. The agency invites comments about whether the options should be considered for achieving the rules goals while reducing the negative impact on business. In addition to presenting oral comments at this hearing, anyone may submit written comments until 5 p.m. August 30th, 2024, which is the close of the public comment period. Comments received after the close of the public comment period will not be reviewed or considered by the agency unless the agency decides to extend public comment period for everyone. Send public comments to the comment box or the State Parks Office. Those addresses are on our website. Those addresses are on a PowerPoint screen. OPRD will not respond to questions during the hearing. After the close of the public comment period, staff will prepare a report to the agency, which will be available from the agency upon request and will be presented to the Parks Commission as they consider adoption of these rules. If you have any questions as part of your testimony, I would appreciate if you could state those questions as concerns for the record. To provide better context for comments, I may ask follow-up questions. To respect each speaker, anyone not presenting has been muted. I ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. Again, you may submit written comments up until the close of the public comment period. We ask that any formal public comment be submitted in writing via mail, email, or online. When it is your turn to comment, you will be moved into the presenter role and staff will begin your time. Does anyone have a public comment they would like to make? Oh, and I will. Please feel free to raise your hand if you would like to make a comment. Joe, do you want to call on folks?
Yep, I have just made David into a panelist. So David, when you're ready, please begin and I'll start the timer.
Hi, my name is Dave. I've been camping in Oregon State Parks for 45 years and also volunteered with the Oregon State Parks. I hope in these fees you will consider keeping the parks affordable for both day use people and campers. When we started, it was the only thing we could afford for vacations. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dave.
Next, we have Kim. I will start the timer as soon as you start talking.
My question is along the same lines. Do you have any provisions for making exceptions or allowances for folks who are income impaired? Is that even a term?
Thank you, Kim. You can submit that as a comment. And at this point, we're not doing a Q&A portion. But Katie, let me know if we change that. But if you want to continue, you still have some time with your comment.
Okay.
Okay, John.
Okay, well, if you're finished with your comment, I can remove you from the panel.
During the public hearing piece, we cannot answer questions, but we can do that once the hearing is closed. But are there any additional public comments?
There's no comments that we see over in the chat either, Katie, so we can move on.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all for coming and providing your comments. The hearing is adjourned, but as we have on the screen, you have until 5 p.m. August 30th, 2024 to provide your comments. And to answer the question, Kim, that you have asked, the agency does work very hard to try to balance the needs of affordability and accessibility for everyone, and we'll continue to consider that as we look at rate increases. We do have some programs that look at accessibility for low-income individuals. We have some day use passes that are available at public libraries, but we'll also continue to evaluate if there are additional opportunities to improve that. I don't know if Chris or Joe, you have additional thoughts on that question.
Nothing to add for me.
Yeah, hi, Kim. Thank you for that. As Katie said, just trying to figure out where to set fees has always been a challenge because the state park system in Oregon isn't tax funded. There's always been this balance of trying to keep our costs down internally and then setting the fees on the lower end of what we see the public market doing. The only fee waiver programs that we run are for foster families and adoptive families of their foster children, and for veterans with a service-related disability. They get camping waivers up to a limited amount, and those are really the only waiver programs that are designed in the state park system. Trying to figure out where fees belong and how they play a role there has always been a challenge. And outside of the comments that we're taking on this, if you've got views you want to share just on our fee philosophy entirely, you're welcome to submit those as well and maybe jog our thinking a little bit. Hopefully that answers your question.
Great. Well, thank you all for coming this evening, and we appreciate you taking your time on a Wednesday evening. And please make sure you submit additional comments, questions, or thoughts on our website or in writing or via email. We will be doing additional public hearings in person and one additional one online that are available on our website. So thank you very much this evening for being here this evening.
It's over. You still on?
I think we still have the